To look down from the skies, the tiny fields below are soft, silent, and green in their innocence. From brown bogs and purple, brighter moorlands, streams and lakes shine silver upon the land that long knows how to tolerate suffering. But to many of its native-born, winter, non-shivering inhabitants, it is a shrunken teat on the chest of the cold Atlantic, from which little of life's bare necessities and less of its joys or juices can be squeezed, and whose grey skies and sodden winds force the mind to dream of other realms and to communicate with an almighty Gaelic God for whom this land alone is worthy of his blessings. I am a narrowback, born in America of Irish-born parents whose backs, broad from the old country, toiled to rear the narrower backs of their children in the New World. I left the New World for the old, took my degree in drinking and harlotry in the better pubs of Dublin, and with my ill and random got credentials wandered distant lands, only to return years later to the old sod and live eternally indulging my future and past creative scribbles among the oddly literary elements which thrive here. To more than a few, Ireland remains a glowingly sweet emerald vision. But it was neither glowing nor sweet that dark day 30 years ago, when I was forced to escape from Dublin the night my first play, The Ginger Man, was stopped in its third performance, and closed with one having to beat a hasty retreat from the city.
Can I rely on you not to spill a bean or utter a word, can I? Even though they take the hook to you and other Irish instruments as well, yes?
Yes.
The play was considered shocking by devout Dubliners. An opening night caused a scandal the likes of which have not been seen since by the Gaiety Theatre stage manager.
There was suddenly a burst from the audience of objection. The show went on, but there was hell outside over it, and people got up and walked out. And you see, the book was banned. Everybody had read it anyway, and everyone was expecting this to happen, that there'd be a protest against it. So we actually closed the theatre then down, took the show off.
The presence of this play once again on a Dublin stage signals the utter change this country has undergone in the years since, as we prepare to unleash Sebastian Dangerfield once again on this nearly liberated and perhaps more benign populace.
In my church, it's a mortal sin.
When The Ginger Man was first written, people forget that in those days there was a great deal of censorship everywhere, and I believe there must have been at least 45 publishers who first turned it down over the various places and years. It was the whole atmosphere of Ireland at that time which led to the writing of the book, and especially at the point where all these people who had come to university there were then going off to the rest of the world in their own lives, and it suddenly dawned on me that this particular period was a very curious and strange time in Dublin, and probably in my own life as well. Now, this is the manuscript of the history of the Ginger Man, and if anyone wonders why one undertook to write this, the book itself has probably influenced everything in my life from the time I wrote it and got it published. And this is a manuscript page, and the way one works on manuscripts. And say it starts with this first draft page, which one finds underneath here. And as I rewrite each page, it gets pasted on top, and the page gets longer and longer until finally, as we unravel the manuscript, we find out that some of these pages go for the entire length of a room. And then every single word that I've written in draft can be traced back through the pages by simply turning them over. So it's autobiographical as well as a history of how not to be an author in 2 or 3 easy lessons.
One is saddened now to return here to where, in this now tumble-down ruin, I started in some desperation to write my first novel.
That was the sun porch, and in the corner there I first started writing the manuscript of The Ginger Man. This room was much larger and was the living room, and at that end it had cooking apparatus and a chaise longue here, and of course that's the fireplace where one sat in the winter evenings. Although the trees now obscure the sea was in view in those days, and on silent, quiet evenings you could hear the waves flapping on the shore. So you had this sense of immense isolation and seclusion, and that contributed a great deal to one's concentrating on one's work. I painted here, of course, and so the combination of the setting, I think, made one... it was quite an easy matter to compile pages of a manuscript.
Across these fields and their walls, crafted of Irish stone for centuries, just as they had been by my ancestors who kept their enemies away, as I now try to keep my cattle in and some peace alive in one's soul. In fields such as these, I began a romance of a sort with this ancient island that would endure for many years. This fair-skinned nation, raging alive, kicking asunder its ancient chains. This land where time cannot fly, a nation from which so many fled, now crawling with its human race. Yet there is more to tell. Out here, nestled in these Midland hills, the air scented green. Ancient friends awake out of their deaths to shake a hand. Walk together across the meadow. Keep your voice down. The grass has ears. To hear your secrets said. Beyond these eastern rainbows, where the brooding heavens carry their veil of rain to hide all her sins and keep her safe in her graces.